Music is my life. I spend most of my time practicing, rehearsing, and playing concerts, and then hoping I did a good job in that order. And it's wonderful. I love to do it. I love music. I'm lucky. I feel lucky that I get to call it my livelihood. It's what I do on a daily basis. It's how I make my living. But in this changing world, the digital world, in the 30 seconds or less world, in the world where I'm so annoyed because I can't watch my television program without a 15-second commercial, we are always, and when I say we, I'm talking about us musicians, us classical musicians, us Western classical musicians, where most of our pieces are much longer than 5 minutes. Some going from 20 minutes to 50 minutes to maybe an hour and a half when you're talking about a Mahler symphony. We struggle to fit in. We struggle to find our place, and we wonder how we can stay relevant in this world, how we can be successful, how we can continue to make this our livelihood. The music, it's funny, the music itself, Bach is still known. The word Bach is synonymous with known, but the acoustic instruments themselves get stuck. We don't know if we should keep a wooden violin or whether we should hook it up to a machine and hope that it carries in a 20,000 people stadium. Now, I've had the conversation many, many times with many of my friends. How do we stay successful? What do we do? And on one such occasion, the concept of gimmicks came up. Should we wear a meat dress like Lady Gaga? I mean, I noticed that. I mean, it still sticks in my mind, so it did work, what she tried, right? But how does that fit into the art form of classical music? And so he and I were going back and forth, and he made some really good points. He was saying, well, it works. You can be noticed if you do something different. It gets people's attention. And I can see that he's right about that. But my thoughts are that even if it does gain attention, what if someone copies you? Then there's someone else that's doing the same thing, right? So how are you different? And it seems to last for just a second because fads are only for a second. And so we were going back and forth, and at some point, he very subtly, very, very subtly, suggested to me that I had a gimmick, and that gimmick in the world of classical music is the color of my skin. Because, and I know I don't see very many of myself in my field. And my reaction, even though I was hurt that a self-proclaimed friend would try to diminish what I am capable of by my cultural heritage, that somehow my cultural heritage was a box and the only way I could express myself. My bigger feeling was one of amusement, actually, because first of all, I'm American. So I expect to earn what I deserve. And second of all, my genes were gifted to me. I had no say in the matter. Music is the way that I connect with people. Growing up, all the time that I was growing up, words felt ancillary to me. I much preferred sound without words. I'm the person that if I'm standing in a group of people and someone yells, "There he is," I will look in their direction like most other people would. But I'm busy thinking, well, why didn't he say "there he is" as opposed to "there he is"? So music just makes so much more sense to me. And and since I travel all over the world playing, the violin has taken me so many places. It's very often that I'm standing in a room with many people, or maybe just 4 people, and none of us speak the same language, but we still get along so well because we're all connected by the music. I had a very big moment in my life, in my early teens maybe. I was, well, middle teens. I was 14, 15. And I met a 12-year-old boy that, out of respect, I will refer to as the dude. Now, the dude was, well, he was taller than me, probably still is, and he was full of life, full of exuberance, warm personality, just someone that people love to be around, and he was also autistic. So he did not communicate in the way that us average people do. He made oral sounds, but they were not words of English. They were not words of French or Spanish or any other language that we know. And the other thing that he would do is that when he got overexcited, he would get as close as possible to something without actually touching, because he very rarely touched anything, much less any person. And he would get as close as possible and overextend his first finger and almost touch, but not quite. And there were many times where, and he understood basic speak of other humans. If you said space, please, because that was very often that you had to, he would step away, maybe a foot. Now, at some point, for some reason, I was playing my instrument when he was around. And I will never forget the moment, because for lack of a better word, he went ballistic. He was so happy, and he was so into the music, and he was responding to me orally, responding to the sounds that I was making on my instrument. He was responding orally. But what I realized, the power of that moment for me, was that I realized that he was speaking my language and I was speaking his. All of a sudden, we were not disconnected by the difference of our genes. And I've taken the power of that moment everywhere with me. Just the thought that I could go beyond something emotional, something learned. It was so deep. And I take that moment with me into every rehearsal, onto every stage. Even into the practice room with myself, I think, well, I am actually speaking someone's language. This makes sense to someone out there. And I hope it makes sense to more than just one person out there. But I am thankful to the dude for that moment. So I know, and I know very well, what I am. I am an American. I am a Black American. I am a female American and a violinist on top of it all. But none of those things supersede who I am. I am an American that has chosen to live abroad and to seek out other civilizations. I am a Black American that is happy to experience other racial cultures and learn what it's like to be of a different color. I am a female that is proud to call herself a strong, independent woman. And I am a violinist that seeks to make an art form out of being a musician. So again, do I need a gimmick? I would say no, because I prefer to exist for real. I prefer to exist as I am, as who I want to be and how I feel the most comfortable communicating. Thank you.